Game of the year, upset of the year, potentially mark of the year and goal of the year, all in the round so far. Kane, we have to start, though, at the Cattery. What happened?
Oh, it's easy to identify the last minute of play, but Melbourne once again made some fundamental mistakes. We're going to start with Garlett here on the boundary line. If in doubt, with 40 seconds to go, take the ball across the line. The last thing you want to do is have a fluky snap that gives the opposition the ball back with 40 seconds to go. Now, this is how it played out. I want to stop the play here. There's Duncan and his Melbourne opponent. That's important. You'll see that in a minute. And then those two demons, including the captain, Nathan Jones, give Menzel far too much time and space. Got to rush the kicker, press up on the mark. A brilliant kick from Menzel into middle from Hawkins. Here's stop it here. There's Duncan outworking his opponent with 10 seconds left to go in the game. The kick gives Tui a chance. He does the rest, kicks the goal after the siren. I hope that Simon Goodwin is hard on his players after this loss, because after the round 14 loss to Port Adelaide that they should have won, he was soft on them. They lost again in round 15 to St Kilda by 2 points. He was soft again, let them off. Well, they've done it again and shown that in games, in big moments, they can be mentally weak, and he needs to be really strong with his players, that's not accepted at the Melbourne Footy Club. OK, so Zach Tui, the hero. What about this man, though, Tom Hawkins? 7 goals on his birthday, if you don't mind, his 30th birthday. Yeah, he's been around for a long time, but I'm not sure he's played a better game than this Tom Hawkins. He was everything about a full forwards game or centre-half forwards game that we loved. He was just on fire. He sensed the moment. He stood up in the last quarter when the game was on the line. He did it all. He was on the mark. He snaps a goal here. That was his 7th with 4 minutes to go. He was just brilliant, and loved the smile on his face. I loved the way he got the crowd involved in the game. And Gary Ablett wasn't too bad either, despite some criticism this year. 14 disposals in the last quarter, 7 contested, 4 inside 50s. He was so important late. Yeah, made his presence felt, didn't he? There are a few issues to discuss out of this game. Let's take a look at this one first of all. Max Gawn, behind play here, the free kick paid. Did he dive? I'm not sure he took a dive. We'll take a look at it again. There was certainly some contact there. Did he exaggerate the contact? I think he probably did, but off the ball, perhaps he wasn't expecting that sort of contact. Cost Geelong a goal and he made the most of it, but if he had his time again, maybe he wouldn't have fell over as easily. All right, let's now take a look at 2 of the most controversial rules going round. First of all, nominating a ruckman. It's got to go. This is an absolute embarrassment on the game. Brayshaw clearly wouldn't expect Dangerfield to be the ruckman, so he's gone and identified the most dangerous midfielder. He's tried to man him up, which would be in his instruction. The umpire will argue that he said Dangerfield and Gawn are up, but he said it once and didn't warn the players enough. This cost them a goal. Now, this game was decided by 2 points. That cost them the goal, and we're about to see another free kick that cost Melbourne another goal, and there's Jude Bolton weighing in on Twitter. Yeah, he just made the point that he wore a helmet and you can't hear anything, which goes to show that Angus Brayshaw would have been struggling to hear the instructions when the nominations were called. So, you know, we'll hear from Angus, no doubt, but a confusing situation all round. Let's look at the protected area now, because, again, that has caused controversy. Oh, the players are trying their hardest. We're going to watch it here, and they're trying their hardest. So Harms is trying to get out of the way. He's doing his best. He's moving. He's not holding up play. He's doing what we are supposed to be doing as players. That's a 50-metre penalty. This is the result, a goal to Geelong. I'll say it again, they won the game by 2 points. And 2 very ordinary rules in the game. Now, not necessarily umpiring decisions, because certainly the first one was a correct decision from the umpire, but it's the rule and the rules that need to go, and need to go quickly. All right, that's what was happening at the Cattery in the game between Brisbane and Adelaide. Well, that went down to the wire as well, but what about some of these marks? Oh, it's just outstanding. You said it. We had great games of footy. We had 3 hangers in this game. How's this one from Rayner, a first-year player, to do that? Can't wait to watch him for the next 10 to 15 years. This is an absolute, genuine, contested mark hanger in the goal square. Love that. And this, Eddie Betts turning back the clock with a nice sit. So 3 rippers, and could even be the 3 Mark of the Week nominees from the one game. What about that? Walker and Rayner within 10 seconds of each other. Which one wins for you? I like Rayner's. I just thought that the people around it and the contested situation that he was in, and it resulted in a goal. So that was my favourite. All right, earlier on Saturday, a cracking game at the MCG. The build-up was big, Collingwood and North Melbourne. In the end, though,
The Pies were way too good.
How good have they been? And this is how they've done it. Their pressure today, just time and time again, North Melbourne could not cope with Collingwood's pressure. So how's these numbers? They scored 84 points, Collingwood, directly from North Melbourne turnovers. Now, we could have shown a number of these. Clearly 84 points was a lot, but this is late in the game, and this is just beautiful play from Collingwood. That is footy that stands up in finals. We've seen Richmond do it. So you bring the pressure, that's one thing, but then your ability to be potent off the turnover is another, and Collingwood have a very well-balanced game right now.
And sets up an absolute cracker against Richmond next week.
I can't wait. Yeah, it should be good. They'll challenge them, and look, I watched Richmond on Friday night. I thought, who's the team that can beat them? Perhaps Collingwood's the main challenger right now.
Have you ever had a run-in with a bird on the footy field? Because Scott Pendlebury did. Not a seagull, but a pigeon. Now, the pigeon probably had to go off for a concussion test after that, but apparently okay, flew away.
Extraordinary.
And look at that shot.
Well, and how classy and how composed. He didn't even blink. Scott Pendlebury just took the bounce and clearly noticed it was there. You could tell by his eyes and went about his business like he's always done. He's a star.
Now, there was some drama before the game with Darcy Moore late out. It's a hamstring concern and it could be serious. We don't know. Let's get the word from Nathan Buckley.
We don't know if he's hurt his hammy. It was tight. It was probably, hopefully similar to Mason's last week, where we made the call not to play him because of some tightness in it. But I can't be 100% sure one way or another. So we're going to need to investigate that over the next 48 hours.
All right, the injury update there for MLC. Let's go to the Gold Coast and Sydney now. It was at the SCG where the Swans just aren't going well this season. And a huge win for the Gold Coast Suns. This is probably the upset of the year. Some people are saying upset of the decade.
Yeah, and probably take out Carmichael Hunt's goal after the siren, the Gold Coast's most famous victory. It was just unbelievable. And when you consider they were down by 29 points at quarter time and they were without their top 5 from last year's best and fairest, and they're playing away against the top 4 side who are going and trying to cement their spot in the 4. It's just an extraordinary result. Game on the line at three-quarter time, and it wasn't Sydney, who we expected with their senior players and their veterans standing up. It was Gold Coast, and there was just some sensational performance. That's great for footy, and that's what we need. We'll
talk more about the Swans in a minute, but first, Stephen May, he was critical for the Suns, particularly in the final term, and you just got to wonder as well whether or not this kind of performance today might keep him at the Suns a little longer out of contract at the end of next year.
Doesn't hurt, yeah. Probably one of the best men on the ground. Thought Thompson across half-back on Franklin was terrific, and Aaron Young with 4 goals in the forward line, but 10 intercept marks today, 5 of these in the last quarter. You can see their City just kept kicking the ball to him, so he set himself up in the right position. He was almost like the goalkeeper, the wicket-keeper, and clearly, if I'm in charge, you play out your contract, don't you? He's the captain of the footy club,
Surely.
Particularly if Lynch leaves. There's no trading this off-season. He's committed, and you make him commit.
All right, let's talk about the Swans now. And John Longmire concedes that footy has the remarkable ability to punch you in the nose, and that's what happened to the Swans today. But look at their run home and their record at the SCG with 2 games at home to come. Can't believe how badly they're playing at home. 4 wins and 5 losses.
That's amazing, isn't it? Usually probably the toughest place to play footy with Geelong, so very difficult to win there. Always found that. So for them to lose 5 there already this year is extraordinary. Usually and traditionally, Sydney bounce back, so you would expect them to bounce back quickly, but it would be their inconsistency and their home form this year and their reliance once again on Franklin that would be of much concern.
A good win for the Bombers over Fremantle, and this man, Orazio Fantasia, had a day out.
He did. What about this day? And I reckon he's probably in the top 2 or 3 most important players at the Bombers. Missed a lot of footy this year, just the 10 games, but his game today, best man on the ground, 19 disposals, he took 9 marks, 7 of those were inside 50, as you're going to see here, and then finished with 5 goals, also 7 score involvements. So he was the most potent player on the ground, and gee, don't they love having him back in the side.
He gets into your core team of the week.
He's a lock.
All right, let's take a look at the ladder for you. It is really taking shape, but it's ever-changing, isn't it, with the Tigers at the top. A win clear at the moment with the Eagles to play on Sunday. Collingwood in 3rd. Port still to play, of course. And then Melbourne and Geelong there now equal on 40 points at 10 and 7. And just percentage separating them right now. And as you can see, the bottom of the ladder is pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see, won't it, what happens with the Gold Coast Suns if they get a couple more wins and can actually finish a little bit higher on the ladder.
It will be. And the difference between Carlton and the other probably 3 or 4 bottom sides is now starting to take shape. But Port Adelaide go up a place despite not playing. Adelaide win and drop down a place. So that's how tight the top 12 positions on the ladder are.
The rest of the round is pretty interesting, including that game, the final game of the weekend, Port and GWS. Who do you reckon wins there?
Yeah, well, that's the big one, isn't it? I think I'm favouring GWS without Ryder. He's so important to them, so Dixon will have to do the ruck work. But the other two look like one-sided contests, but today will show you that let's not expect anything, and who knows, Carlton may cause an upset.
Now, off the top, I mentioned the possible goal of the year. We haven't forgotten it. It is our one more thing before we go. Jack Stephen in a losing side for Matty's match at Etihad Stadium. That was pretty cool.
That's the best goal I've seen this year, and I don't care if it was a fluke. The best goal is the best goal, and clearly that's what he was trying to do, and hasn't been a big year for the Saints, but surely they win the goal of the year at least this year.
At least some kind of silverware. Thank you, Kane.
Thanks,
We'll
mate.
catch you soon. Thank you for watching the round so far.